I hadn't been back to my village in 15 years. The bus dropped me off at the same dusty road where my father once held my hand on my first day of school. Everything looked smaller than I remembered. The banyan tree still stood in the center, its roots hanging like frozen ropes. The tea shop remained with its faded wooden sign creaking in the wind. For a moment, I felt like nothing had changed at all. I stepped inside the shop, expecting a warm smile from the old shopkeeper. The bell above the door jingled softly as he looked up at me. His eyes were blank, as if I were a complete stranger. "Uncle, it's me. Arav," I said carefully, trying to smile. Raghav Sharma's son. He stared at me for several seconds before slowly shaking his head. He claimed no family with that surname had ever lived in the village. The words felt unreal, like a badly rehearsed lie. But his expression held no humor, only certainty. Outside, a few villagers had stopped to stare at me. Their gazes lingered too long before they quietly returned to whatever they were doing. It felt as if I didn't belong there anymore. I walked toward my old house at the end of the narrow dirt path. My chest tightened as familiar memories resurfaced with every step. The dried well beside the house was still covered with the same cracked stone slab. The house itself was freshly painted, but unmistakably the same. I knocked on the door, my heart pounding in confusion. A middle-aged woman answered instead of anyone I recognized. I introduced myself and explained that I had grown up there. I even described the mango tree that once stood in the backyard. Her face paled before she insisted she had lived there her entire life. "No one named Sharma has ever owned this house," she said firmly. Then she shut the door in my face without another word. The finality of it made my stomach drop. A cold unease crept up my spine as I wandered the village for hours. I spoke to the priest at the temple, hoping he would remember me. He swore he had served there for 30 years and had never heard my name. But I remembered everything about this place. The crack in the temple bell, the carved initials near the pond, the path leading into the fields. And I remembered the night the screaming started. I was 12 years old when it happened. At exactly 7 p.m., every door in the village had slammed shut at once. The adults dragged their children indoors without explanation. My father locked every window and whispered for us to stay silent. My mother turned off all the lights. The entire house felt like it was holding its breath. At 7:05 p.m., someone knocked on our door. It wasn't loud, but it was deliberate. Slow, steady, patient. Then came the whisper. My name. Soft, almost affectionate, but wrong in a way I couldn't explain. My mother covered my mouth to stop me from making a sound. My father stood frozen near the door, gripping a kitchen knife with trembling hands. The knocking continued for 5 long minutes before stopping abruptly. The next morning, one house at the edge of the village was empty. The family who lived there had vanished without a trace. No one ever spoke about it again. Back in the present, the temple bell rang softly. I checked my phone and saw it was 6:58 p.m. A chill ran down my spine as the memory aligned with the time. Suddenly, the entire village shifted. People stopped mid-conversation and quietly began walking home. By exactly 7 p.m., every door was closed. The streets were empty within seconds. There were no lights, no voices, no movement. I was the only one left outside. The woman from my old house opened her door slightly. Her eyes were filled with fear and something that looked like pity. "You shouldn't be out," she whispered before shutting it again. Darkness fell unnaturally fast around me. The air felt heavy, thick, almost suffocating. My heartbeat echoed in my ears. At exactly 7:05 p.m., a knock sounded from behind me. It didn't come from a house. It came from the banyan tree. My heart pounded as I slowly turned toward it. The hanging roots swayed even though there was no wind. Another knock echoed from the dried well. Then another from the temple door. The knocks surrounded me from every direction. The village remained silent as if pretending not to hear. Then I felt something close to my ear, a whisper soft and cold. Arav. I spun around, but no one was there. The darkness pressed in closer, swallowing the outlines of the houses. The whisper came again, louder this time. You left. Memories crashed into me like a wave. That night 15 years ago, I hadn't stayed hidden like the others. I had opened the door. I had stepped outside at 7:05 p.m. Something had been waiting for me in the dark. The villagers didn't forget me. They erased me to protect themselves. Because whatever knocks at 7:05 p.m. doesn't take someone randomly. It takes the one who answers. Tonight, after 15 years, it had come back to finish what it started.